Hello everybody. Now in this class we are going to be discussing applications of array and advantages of array. In previous class we discussed one dimensional array, two dimensional array, memory representation of one dimensional array, memory representation of two dimensional array. In two dimensional array we discussed the memory representation of two dimensional array with respect to row major order and with respect to column major order. Now we are going to be discussing applications of array and advantages of array. By using array, what are its application and what are the advantages by using array? The applications of the first applications of array are used to implement other data structure such as stack, queue, string, etc. Means by making use of array data structure, we are implement other data structure. Means by making use of array, we are allowed to implement other data structure such as stack, queue, string, heaps. There are so many other data structure which we want to implement. We require array. Second one is arrays are used to implement mathematical vectors and matrices. These are the mathematical concept. Matrices means in which we are going to be storing numbers in the form of rows and columns. We are going to be storing numbers in the form of rows and columns. The concept is called as matrices. If you want to implement these two mathematical concepts, vectors and matrices, we require array. By using array, we are allowed to implement mathematical concepts like vectors and matrices. For that, we require arrays. Next one is many databases includes one dimensional array whose elements are records. Many databases uses one dimensional array to store their elements as their records. Means if you want to store certain data into computer memory, we require application software called as a database. Database is an application software which is able to store related data items in a computer memory. If you want to implement this, the many databases which uses these single dimensional array are used to store array elements as a records. Those are applications of array. These are three important applications of array. Next we will discuss advantages of array. What are the advantages by using array? First one is used to represent multiple data items same type by using a single name. What is the advantage? Advantage of using array, if I am going to be using any normal variable, integer x, right? If I am going to be declaring a variable, normal variable x is a variable which is able to hold only single value, But advantage of using array is that by using array, we are allowed to store multiple elements under a unique name or a common name. That is going to be done with help of using array. Means integer x 20. The difference between these two declarations, first one is normal variable declaration, second one is integer x of 20. Means the second one array declaration which is able to store 20 different elements under common name called as an x. It is an advantage by using array. If I declare normally, which is able to hold only one value. If I am going to be declaring say as an array, I am allowed to store multiple elements under a same name, with the same type, by using array. Second one is advantage of array is array are used to implement other data structure. We already discussed here. By using array, we are allowed to implement other data structure like stack, queue, heaps, strings, etc. If you want to implement these, we require an array data structure or array. Next one is two-dimensional array are used to represent the matrices. I told while we discussing an application, I told matrices is a concept where we are going to storing the numbers in the form of rows and columns. If you want to implement the matrices, we require array. By using array, it is an advantage. We can represent two-dimensional array to represent the matrices. Means by declaring two-dimensional array, we are allowed to store numbers in the form of rows and columns. Means integer a of 2 by 2. Integer a of 2 by 2 means I allow to store 2 rows and 2 columns. Means total 4 elements I can store with this array data structure in which 2 rows are there, 2 columns are there, total 4 elements I can store with this data structure. Or now we are discussing disadvantages of array. What are the disadvantages by making use of array in our program? These are the few disadvantages which are mentioned or given for our syllabus. First one is we must know in advance that how many elements are to be stored in an array. With some disadvantage means before going to be storing an elements into array, we know to be in prior that how many elements we are going to be storing in that array. We have to know in prior. Then only it is possible to store number of elements into an array. Means let us consider I am declaring an array integer number. I am collecting a phone number. If you want to collect a mobile phone number, then I need to be know how many digits are going to be storing in that array. Previously, if I am going to know, then only I can allocate how many number of digits I need to leave for storing phone number or mobile number. It is an advantage because if I don't know how many elements I am going to be storing into array, it is a disadvantage. If I don't know integer number, I am going to be leaving 100 memory locations, then it's a disadvantage. I am out of 100 memory locations, I am going to be using only 10 memory locations for using mobile number, then the 19 memory locations are going to be wasted. So before going to be storing any elements into array, in previously or in prior to that we know how many elements I am going to be storing in that array. We have to know. That is one disadvantage. We must know in advance that how many elements are to be stored in array. Means before going to be storing, we must know how many elements I want to store into array. Second one is array is the static structure. Array is the static structure means whatever the size which I am going to be allocating for array is a fixed one. It is not possible to alter its size. Means by running time or in run time, if you want to increase size of the array or if you want to decrease size of array, it is quite a difficult task because it is static in nature or static structure. It is not possible to allocate an extra amount of memory for a given array. At the same time, it is also not possible to decrease the size of the array. It is not possible to decrease size of the array. That is, array is a static structure. We are not allowed to increase or decrease size of the array at runtime. Means I declare an integer number 10 at runtime. I want to increase size of this number. It is not possible. At runtime, if you want to decrease size of this number, is not possible. That is called as a static structure. Means it is a fixed in nature. Whatever the size which you are allocating, the same size will be kept constant throughout the execution of the program. That is called as an array is a static structure. The third one is the elements of an array are stored in consecutive memory locations. So insertion and deletions is a very difficult and time consuming operations. Third one is the elements of an array are stored in consecutive locations. If you want to perform insertion operation or deletion operation, these are the time consuming or a difficult operations. Why? Because if I am going to be insert or delete, let us consider I am going to be declaring an array 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. See this one. These array elements are going to be stored in a consecutive memory locations. Consecutive memory locations means these are going to be stored in one after the other. In this array, if you want to perform insertion operation and deletion operations on a given array, it is a difficult and time consuming operations. Why it is? Because if you want to delete an element which is locating at index 1, which is deleted an element 20 from this array, then the elements which are located its subsequent array, they have to be shifted to its previous index. Means the element which is locating at second index should be shifted to first index. The element which is located at index 3 should be shifted to second index. The element 4 should be the element which is locating at index 4 should be shifted to index 3. It is a process. If I am going to be having too many number of elements in an array, all those should be shifted to its previous index. At the same time, if you want to insert an element into this array, means I want to insert 15 into first position. 15 into first positions means the all subsequent array elements should be shifted to its higher index value. Its higher index value means if you want to insert an element 15 into this position, means all these elements should be shifted to its subsequent indexes or higher index value. If you inserted 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, right? If you perform insertion and deletion operations on a given array, these are the time consuming and difficult operations. So whatever the elements which we are occurring in subsequent indexes, those should be shifted either its previous index or shifted its higher index value if you perform insertion or deletion on a given array. That is the disadvantages of using array. Means if you deleted, we have to shift all those elements either its previous index or its higher index based on operation. If you inserted, we have to shift to its higher index. If you deleted, then we have to shift to its previous index.